Hey guys, this is Austin from Runnin Ref. For those of you who don't know, Runnin Ref is an app-based strength and conditioning program built just for you, the referee. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go through a lot of pre-game warm-up options for you to help you out. Now, pre-game warm-up options are really important for you because you're an athlete. You don't get breaks during the game like the players do, but you do have to stop, start, change directions. You run the entire game just as the players do. So what we're going to go through today is a variety of different things that are going to help make game day more efficient for you. Now, the big things that are important for you to note in your warm-up is that we want to start slow and we want to gradually progress the speed of movement. Okay, that's going to help us prevent any future injuries. The next thing is we always want to make sure that it's multi-directional. And then lastly, we always want to finish with the sprint because running is the most specific thing that you're going to do in game. For soft tissue pre-game prep, you can also do this stuff pre-training. We have a couple tools that we like. So not personally the biggest fan of Theraguns. I think that they penetrate the skin really fast, but I'm looking for something to get deeper in the muscle and make some longer changes. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of is the foam roller because I don't think it's hard enough. Now, these three implements that we're going to use, we've got a golf ball, softball, a peanut ball, which is two tennis balls taped together, are going to make up the implements. They pack easily in your travel bag. Now, also, you can use a baseball, you can use a lacrosse ball, whatever you would like. We're going to start on the feet, 1 to 2 minutes on each section. Okay, so I'm going to put the golf ball on the ground. Personal favorite. All I want to do is roll all over the foot and massage everything. A quarter of the bones in your body are in your feet. There's muscles, there's tendons, there's ligaments. You officiate on your feet, you got to take care of them, okay? So it would be the softball. So that's what we pack in our travel bag because we can use it on multiple spots of the body. So here we go. We're going to go down to the calf. So we go feet and we work our way up. Place that on the ground. If I want less pressure on the ball, if it's too intense for me, I take my body weight off. If I want more, I can cross this leg over. Now what I want to do is just roll in 1 to 2 inch sections and get any knots or tense and tender areas that I have out before I get onto the court. Now you say, hey, I found a knot, I found a spot that's really tight and tender. I want to create some movement there and promote some blood flow. So I want to lengthen and shorten the muscle while there's pressure in a specific spot. So what I want to do, I got a knot right there. I'm going to flex this toe all the way down. And I'm going to pull it up into my shin. I'll do that a couple times. Again, 1 to 2 minutes, then I'll move on. Now the next spot is the glutes. So we're going to actually do a figure 4. If I want to work on this right hip, I'm going to cross my right leg over top of my left knee while I sit on this ball right here, okay? Now there's not an active movement that I can do very easily on this spot, so I'm just gonna roll on all these spots and I can sit on an area that may be a little tighter, a little more tender, get into the hips, get into the glutes, because we know that the glutes are very important for us for performance, but also for injury prevention. Now the next one that's extremely important is the hip flexors, not only for low back health, but hamstring health as well. So this is the reason that I like the softball, because in this spot, it's my personal favorite. In the other spots, it also works well. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, the hip flexor runs north and south. So what I'm going to do is just lay on top of this ball. I'm going to roll up and down, again, in 1 to 2 inch sections. And I'm going to try to push down and get some body weight into this ball right here. Now, once I find a spot that is tight and tender, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my knee joint. And I'm actually going to pull my heel up to my butt. So I'm going to do that just the same as I created the motion from the ankle. Again, I do that, I roll up and down the hip flexor, 1 to 2 minutes on each side. Immediately, I'm going to now feel better. So I'm done with my softball. I still have 1 implement and 2 other spots. Now we're going to rotate and go back down with my peanut ball. Again, you can buy these online. 2 tennis balls at your nearest tennis court will save you some money. What I'm going to do, these are muscles on the front of my shin. So some of you that develop patella tendonitis, maybe it could give you some relief from your shin muscles, which also could be something for people with shin splints. I'm just going to lay on top of this ball right here, and I'm going to roll up and down for about 1 minute or 2. I can sit more weight on top of it if I want to, and really just try to loosen up those shin muscles on both sides. Now, last one, we often talk about posture, presence for an official. Also, many of you, are not 18 to 21 years old anymore. Maybe you've lifted weights, maybe you've gone through life and you've developed either bad posture or shoulder issues. This peanut ball we're going to use on our upper back. So the region I want to go is from the top of my shoulder blades to the bottom of my shoulder blades. I want to stay off my neck, and I'm really not worried about my lower back at this point. So I'm going to separate this ball between both of my spines, through my spine, and I'm going to lay on top of it. Now, really, really simple. I'm going to pull my feet in and keep my butt on the ground so my low back's on the ground. Now, I'm going to go into a T, pull my arms all the way out to the side, hands back up. Into an I with my thumbs up, all the way up, all the way back. back down. I can take some deep breaths and relax myself while I'm on top of this ball. Now the last part is I'm going to go down, after I do those two movements, about 1 inch, 1 segment length, and I'm going to go through all of that one more time. So we know a lot of you officials struggle with space and time to do locker room stretches. Now we are in a locker room to showcase you and make you understand that we get the problems that you go through. So these stationary stretches are dynamic in nature, but they are quicker things that you can do in less than 10 minutes before you go get out onto the court. Now you can also do this on the court if you have that space available and you want to, and you can also do this in the hallway. Now, I'm on a tile floor, but if it hurts your knee, just put something down and problem solve a little bit. So the first thing I want to start with is a hip flexor pulse and twist, okay? So I'm not going to just push my hips forward. I'm actually going to tuck my hips up and under, rotate across this up knee with a big reach, and I'm really going to stretch that hip flexor out. Now, I'm going to go about 5 to 10 reps, or you can go for time, 5 to 10 seconds, and then move on to the other side, okay? So it'll look just like this. Pulse, twist, reach. Now I went for about 10 seconds. All I'm going to do from that position to get into my groins is push this left leg out to the side and my right knee outside my hips. So once my hands get down to the ground, I'm going to get a big stretch in these groins. All I'm going to do is keep my back flat and rock my hips backwards. Again, 5 to 10 reps, 5 to 10 seconds. Now I've started to get my groins ready for all the changes in direction that I have to do, okay? So I've done my right side, I've done my left side of the half kneeling hip flexor pulse and the half kneeling groin pulse. Now I'm going to get into the frog pulse. A lot of you may have done this in yoga class before, but now we're going to make it dynamic instead of sit and hold. Same thing. Both knees outside my hips, hands down, rock your hips back. The stretch happens on the back side, so when my butt gets closer to my heels, that's where I'm really going to feel this at. Okay, so I go through that 5 to 10 reps, 4, 5 to 10 seconds. Now I move on to a 90-90 stretch. This is more of a hip stretch, and yes, it is more static, but it's still beneficial. So front knees at 90-degree angle, back foot is behind me, knees at a 90-degree angle. Now all I want to do is lay down over my shin. Really easy. 10 seconds, whatever I may like, then I'm going to move on. But we're going to go off of this stretch, and I want to turn so that you can see this. We're going to go off this stretch and get into the low back and the obliques a little bit as well. Okay, so my regular 90-90. Now I'm going to keep my legs where they're at. I'm going to walk my hands all the way out across my right leg and reach out with this left arm as far as I can. Now the back knee's got to stay on the ground, but I'm getting an enormous stretch through my lat and my low back muscles as I go through this. Okay, so there's one more off of that. A lot of times those are easier stretches, but a lot of people struggle with hip internal rotation. So this exercise is called shin boxes. Okay, if it's difficult for you, practice it daily and your hips will start to loosen up and you'll reap the benefits. So I want to try to sit up as tall as I can. With that being said, I can use this hand to prop myself up, because the more that I lay down, the less I get out of the stretch. I'm cheating the stretch. So I can use this hand to prop myself up. But now, once I get vertical, all I want to do, I want to keep my feet still. I'm going to flip my knees and rotate my shoulders with me. As I rotate, I'm going to push both knees back down to the ground, doing my best to keep my chest up, and finish rotating my shoulders around, and I'll feel a big stretch in the back of these hips right here. So after long bouts of sitting in cars, sitting in locker rooms before your games, this is a big one. The last one we're going to go through for some of the stationary stuff is a dynamic calf stretch. Yes, you can do this on the wall. Yes, you can do this on the court, but we're here. Let's make the most of our time. So we talked a lot about having 2 different calf muscles. So I want to focus on dynamic calf raises, whether it's 1 foot, 2 feet, with my knees straight, but also with my knees bent, doing my best to return my heels down to the ground. So there it is. You've got a total stationary pre-game stretch that shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes. You can do it in any tight spaces and really get ready for games ahead. The space that you have available typically is not very much pre-game. So what we're going to use is even extended from the free throw line all the way to half court. So that gives you a good distance where you can go through 5 to 8 different dynamic stretches, and it'll put you in place to have a great warm-up before you get out onto the court and game time. Okay, so the first one that we like to do is walking leg swings. Okay, all I want to do is stand up nice and tall. I want to keep my legs straight. I want to swing from the hip, stretch out my hamstrings in a dynamic fashion. Once you finish to the free throw line, now you can come back. The next one we're going to do is a quad and hip flexor stretch. So we call this walking quad stretch. Stand up nice and tall, grab your ankle, pull it under your hip, balance, walk into your next step. A good part of your warm-up needs to have some kind of multi-directional element, so we'll go into a side lunge and get your groins loose for all of the changes in direction that you'll have to go through. So lunge to the right, we try to keep our chest up, bend our ankles, sit our hips down below our knees, pivot to the other side, go with a figure 4 stretch, which is just a glute hip stretch to get you ready. Now stand up nice and tall. We're going to grab the ankle this time and pull it up to the hip, not bend over and reach down to get it. So I'll pull the heel up to my hip, balance, walk into the next step. We'll go into another hip stretch. We call this knee hugs. Stand up nice and tall, hence the name. Grab your knee, raise up, walk into the next step. We understand how important it is for officials to stretch your Achilles and your calves before games, because that is one problem spot that you deal with. So this exercise is called backwards ankle walks, okay? It's a dynamic calf stretch that you can do if you have limited space, such as the court pregame. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk backwards from toe to heel, and I want to bend my knees because that gives me a deeper angle and a bigger stretch. Now what I want to do is push my entire foot back down into the ground, and I can get into a rhythm in a walking fashion. Two issues that we tend to see with this though is either you don't have great ankle mobility, so we let the heel turn inwards. Now it's just not an efficient movement, or take too big of a step, and now I can't stretch that effectively like I'm looking for. So bend your knees, keep your chest up, smoothly, heel to toe step length, walking backwards. Stand up nice and tall, up, out, over with my knee, while I'm going to keep my chest square, walking over as if there was an imaginary hurdle right in front of me. We're going to finish up with world's greatest stretch. So this is a deep lunge with a tuck and a twist. It's not only going to stretch out my lower half, but I'm going to get into some of these oblique and lat muscles as well, which are very important for you as an athlete, as an official. So lunge out, inside elbow down by my ankle, rotate towards my up knee, reach as high as I can up for the ceiling, walk into my next step. Once again, elbows down, rotate, reach towards the up knee, walk into my next step. Now we're going to move into some more dynamic movements that you can use pre-game. So one of the biggest things about a warm-up is understanding that you got to go from being stationary, sitting in a car, sitting in the locker room, to full speed movement, because you don't know at what point during the game you're going to have to take off, transition, and run at full speed. And that's oftentimes where we see a lot of these soft tissue or muscle injuries come up. So once we go through some of the walking dynamic stuff, now we've got to pick up the pace. So what I want to do is I want to go from 0 and gradually build up the speed of movement in multiple directions for my warm-up. So now we're going to extend the distance. So we're going to use half court, because again, your space pre-game is very limited. We understand that. And we're going to extend it out to the baseline. Okay, so the first one we're going to do, we got to continue warming up the feet, the calves, the Achilles for everything that you need as an official. So we call these backwards pogo hops. All I want to do is put my hands on my hips. These are small vertical jumps, which I'm really focusing on bending from the knee down to the ankle. The one big difference between jump rope is I don't want to land on the ball of my foot so much. That's very muscular. I actually want to get the tendons involved, so I want to get more to the middle of that Nike check. Not the heel, not the toes, but a little bit more to the middle of my foot. Yes, you can do this in place. We like it moving, so we'll use half court to free throw line extended. All you need is 1 rep to get you ready. And it looks just like this. Quick, hops off the ground. I'm really prepping my feet and ankles. Now we'll move down to the baseline. What we'll do here is we'll start a series of skips. So the first one will be a rhythm skip from baseline to half court. Nice, easy rhythm skip. Once we finish that, to make it multi-directional, we'll again come back and we'll skip backwards. Okay? Really simple, backward skip, nice, smooth, and athletic. We will go into a backwards run, which is great hamstring prep for you. What I want to focus on in a backwards run is not backpedaling like a defensive back. I actually want to pick my heel up close to my butt, reach and run as I go through the movement. Make it nice and smooth. Again, that is phenomenal hamstring prep when you have space. Now you have to watch out for balls on the court. You have to watch out for fans or anybody that may be nearby. Great hamstring prep for you. We'll move into shuffles, because at what point are my groins need to be engaged with a quick transition and a change of direction. So I want to become athletic. I'm going to shuffle down to the baseline. I'll rest. I will face the same direction, and we'll bring it back again. Shuffle back the other way to make sure I'm ready for all these quick transitions. Running is the most specific thing you do in game. So all of the hamstring stretches, all the sitting on the wall, reaching and holding type of stretches aren't going to get you ready for the speed of movement. So what I want to do is I want to gradually build up the pace of my run. So we always finish with a technical build-up, which we're working on good running technique. So we're starting with the jog and we're speeding it up, and then one full speed or close to full speed sprint for what we can do to make sure that we are ready for anything that the game may present to us. Here's 3 pre-game prep exercises that every referee needs to help prevent more injuries. First thing, I packed a mini band with me, okay? I need to make sure that my hip flexors are ready for all of the movement that I need to do in game. So pre-game, I don't need a ton of volume. I just want 10 reps on each leg. So what I want to do is I want to put it over my shoelaces. I'm going to stand up nice and tall, and all I'm going to do is go into what we call a banded hip flexor march, which is just a sprinter's march. Stand up tall. I want to lift with my hip, hold it, 1 Mississippi, push my foot back down. 1 Mississippi, push my foot back down. 10 on my left leg, 10 on my right leg, and I am done. You could use the scorer's table. You could do this stuff in the locker room or in the hallway as well. Now, there's 2 different calf muscles. They have different functions for you when you're running at speed. So we're going to do calf raises in 2 different ways. Again, the volume is really low, so I'm going to do a set of 10 on each leg and at both positions, so a total of 20 reps. Now, the first one, I'm not using my hands to take body weight off. My hands are here only for balance. Now, if you watch my knee position, what I want to do is I want to stand up tall. I want to completely lock this knee out. Now, in a calf raise, all I want is the motion to come from my ankle and my heel all the way up. Now, the second position, we're going to focus on the knee being bent, which really activates and gets the other calf muscle more ready for what it's about to do. Okay, so I'll get up into the same position. Now I'm going to squat down into about a quarter squat. From here, watch, my knee's not going to move very much. The motion is going to come from my heel. What a lot of officials try to do when they do this is they turn this into a squat. That's not what we're looking for. The knee's going to be still, and now you can see the motion is going to come from the heel as I raise the heel up and I put the heel back down. Again, 10 reps on my right, 10 reps on my left. Now what we've done, after our dynamic warm-up is over, we've activated the hip flexors to get ready for full speed sprinting, and we've gotten the calves, Achilles, and the feet ready for all of the full speed sprinting that you have to do and all of the accelerations that you have throughout the course of a basketball game. We help sports officials worldwide become more physically prepared for game day. Head on over to runninref.com and check out our training programs today. Let's get to running.